What's up, everybody? My name's Big Cam and welcome back to another movie review. And today we are talking about 2026's Ladies First. And of course, you know, the gentlemanly thing to do, ladies first, after you. But this movie is now streaming on Netflix and is directed by Thea Sharrock. And she has done some other work. She did 2016's Me Before You with Emilia Clarke and Sam Claflin. She did 2023's Wicked Little Letters, and that is with Oscar winner now, Jessie Buckley, Olivia Colman. I love Olivia Colman. She's hilarious. It says she also wrote and directed 2020's The One and Only Ivan, which seems like it's maybe a gorilla movie with Sam Rockwell voicing the gorilla of Ivan and Bryan Cranston. Interesting. The Beautiful Game in 2024 with Bill Nighy. Yes, she's done a few things. She says she's only directed 7 projects, but she's an executive producer on that movie about the gorilla as well. Not a writer, so she executive produced and directed. And yeah, so she's done a few movies now and getting things under her belt. But this synopsis for this movie on Letterboxd reads, an arrogant but charismatic ladies man finds his life of money, power, and casual flings upended when he wakes up in a parallel world dominated by women. Right, so that's kind of like the whole premise of this, is that he's this big wig douche at the top of this company named Atlas, and it's Sacha Baron Cohen playing Damien is like the main character, and he goes from being the CEO of this company who's bringing in a woman female voice for this Guinness ad or whatever that's supposed to be Guinness Girl. And to be honest with you, the first like 45 minutes of this is kind of rage baity, like, because it doesn't matter what side you're on, they kind of do it intentionally, right? Like if you're pro-man and you're against women, you know, you're all up in roar, but if you're pro-women against men, you know, like vice versa, it's just either side you're on, you're gonna get angry about this. Me personally, I could give a shit, you know, like I just think it's so ponderous for there to be people out there literally just, well, you're a man, so you're a piece of shit. And I'm like, well, you didn't hear a single word that came out of my mouth and you already, you know, brought your own thoughts to the matter about who I am. Like, that is not how I work, you know? Like, if you think I'm a pussy or an asshole and I haven't said one fucking word to you and you have no idea who I am, that's everything I need to know about you, is that you're a judgmental piece of shit and you have already decided who I am in your mind, so it doesn't matter what I say, you know what I mean? Like, I hate people like that, and I hate women that are like, there's so many lesbians in the world right now that are like, men are the worst, which, like, we are, you know, like, men have ruined the world. Look at fucking Trump in office, like, that's fucking retarded. But to think that there is no bad women is also retarded. Like, you can be an asshole or a good person, and that doesn't matter whether you're a man or a woman or brown, yellow, green, from space. I'm sure even other planets have assholes, you know what I mean? There's people that are going to do the good thing, and there's going to be the nice guys that will always finish last, because even if you are a nice guy in this world, it does not matter. There's going to be ladies that just look right past you and then go and date some guy that treats them poorly. You know, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. They like the bad boys, they like the assholes, you know, like, and it's funny because every single one of those dudes that was just a complete asshole their whole life when I was growing up, every single one of them's like married, in a happy relationship, doing great. Where's the karma? Where is the karma? You know, maybe it's just not there yet. You know, maybe when they turn 40, they'll be 800 pounds and they'll be divorced and fucking miserable, and that karma will come back for them then. But like, I don't know, where's my karma? You know, I've been trying to get that good karma going my whole life, and just, it seems like my best luck has always been bad luck. Like, granted, I get that from my mother, but like, I don't know. I'm being a little bit more personal in this video rather than talking about the movie, but it's just like the type of emotions this movie's trying to bring up. But then at a certain point, right, like the first 45 minutes of this movie is kind of rage baity, but then like the last half of this movie is kind of a love story, and he starts to, you know, change his ways, and like, I think it's a very good message, you know, like, why can't you just fall down, bump your head, and change your ways, you know? Like, there's nothing saying that you have to continue to be an asshole the rest of your fucking life. If you're an asshole today, fall down, bump your head, wake up tomorrow a good person, and carry on, you know? Like, you can always try to be better and try to do something good, you know? Doesn't mean the other people will forgive you, but, like, you can always put the effort forth of trying to be good, and if somebody doesn't want to fucking see you as a good person, that is their problem, right? Like, you can only try and do what you can do, you know? And if you're not trying hard enough and you're still being an asshole, but you're saying, oh, I don't know, you know, like, don't be that guy, you know? Like, Sacha Baron Cohen was a real prick at the beginning of this movie, and by the end, you know, he was, like, learning his wrongs, you know what I mean? And learning that, like, the same way, he's feeling the same way that they felt, where, like, there was a bunch of men in the room saying terrible men jokes about, like, women, and the, you know, the ad is supposed to be directed towards women, but nobody's listening to the woman in the room. And then when it flips, it's a room full of women making bad men jokes, and then the ad is supposed to be directed towards men, and nobody's listening to him. So it's like, it's one of those things, put yourself in their shoes type of situation, and, you know, it's a movie that I think is going to be controversial. I think if you don't finish the movie and get to the end, there might be quite a few men or women, you know, vice versa, just asshole type people that got halfway through the movie and they're like, this is, I'm so angry, this is stupid. And, like, you're not wrong, the first half is stupid, but it's intentional. They're not doing it to be bad writers, you know, they're doing it to show that, like, things would be a lot simpler if we worked together rather than, you know, thinking we're the best and the other side of the table is stupid and wrong, you know what I mean? And, like, having that mindset where, oh, well, we have the woman in the room not because she's the best woman for the job, but because we need her for the optics. And it's like, you know, it's very dumb. Very, very dumb, you know? But, like, I also don't think that a board of, like, salespeople should have to be 50% men and 50% women just for optics, right? Like, the best people in the company should be the people in the boardroom, regardless if it's, you know, 9 women, 3 men, or 9 men, 3 women. Like, sure, they should both be in the room, but, like, it shouldn't be like, oh, you're a woman, I'm a man, so we have to both do things. It's like, no, like, women create every single one of the human beings on the planet. Every one of them. And women think that they need to, like, equality and do things like that men do. Like, women, you are so far and away better than every man on the planet just when you were born. You don't even have to have special skills, right? Like, you don't have to be an astronaut. You don't have to do any of that shit. You are far better than every man on the planet just by the capability that you can create another human being with your body. Like, my buddy just had his 2nd daughter. It still blows my mind that, like, they can fuck, you know, a little bit cum, and then all of a sudden, 9 months, bam, human being, right? Like, that is, it makes no sense. It really doesn't. You know, like just like, oh yeah, you know, every single, you know, like, what, there's 10 billion people in the planet. Every single one of them came out of a woman. That's more impressive than any job a man has ever done. You know, like, you know, just for whatever, a man created the Burj Khalifa, the world's tallest building. Does not matter, because every single fucking human being in the world was created by a woman. Like, I don't know. I don't see the point of the arguments. You know, I find it very ponderous. There's people that, you know, and of course I recognize that it's out there, and there's people that are like, oh, it's women, men. They're on either side. The world's never been more divided, and I think a lot of it has to do with the angry orange meanie in the White House trying to separate everybody, you know? Like, America, the whole world has never been more divided until this guy came around, you know what I mean? Like, we've always been divided, but, like, it never has felt so divided. Like, our art's divided, our human beings are divided, like, everybody is just in a conversation, and it's just like, everybody's fighting, everything's rage bait. Like, you go on social media, everything's angry, like, nobody wants to be positive, nobody wants to talk about the things they like, you know? Like, it's just agonizing. It's really fucking terrible stuff. And I know I rambled and ranted in this video about random nonsense without a real clear thought line, but, you know, if you've made it this far, I think it's a genuinely good movie. If anything, it's a movie that makes you think, makes you process, makes you go, yeah, you know, I see that point, that was dumb, that was stupid, you know? But, like, at the end of the day, the message in this movie is, like, love is worth it, is worth the wait, you know? If, like, you truly want to work through something and recognize that, like, this guy's a ladies' man, ladies' killer type of thing. He's sleeping around with 8 girls on one weekend, you know, and eventually the person that he finds the most attractive is the one that he thought he was never going to be attracted to. You know what I mean? At the beginning of the movie, he's like, yo, you're fired, you're fired. And he chases her down, bumps his head, wakes up, goes through this whole thing hating her, trying to make sure that he becomes the CEO over her. And then at the end of the day, he's like, you know, it doesn't matter. You know, like, your ideas are great. You know, I shouldn't have been an asshole. I should have read the thing. I shouldn't have hired you for optics. You know, and he, like, apologizes and then goes, like, listen, like, you're the one. It takes him a minute to figure it out, but eventually he figures out that, I believe it's Rosamund Pike is, Rosamund Pike plays Alex Fox in this, and she's, you know, great. She's one of those actresses that, like, she was a complete bitch the whole movie, and I was like, oh, I hate this bitch. But then, like, all of a sudden there's a switch, and you're like, oh wow, Sacha Baron Cohen and her, and like that kiss, and like as soon as they're like together, I was like, wow, this is kind of beautiful stuff, you know, like I think this is really well done. So I really think like the two main actors between Rosamund Pike and Sacha Baron Cohen, like the two of them did a pretty damn good job. But I also thought it was funny, like Charles Dance and the character that he had in this, but also then thinking about it, that like Charles Dance is going from like this movie to then go do the Batman Part 2 where he's going to be playing Harvey Dent's father. Like, what a polar change. You know what I mean? Like doing this like weird Netflix movie and then going over to do the Batman Part 2, which is like a really hyped movie that everybody's really excited for. But then there's also like Fiona Shaw, who is Felicity in this, and like, oh, the scenes with her were actually quite funny. Richard E. Grant as well, being the Pigeon Man. I love Richard E. Grant. Right, there were certain people in this that just cracked me up. You know, like as soon as I saw them, I was like, oh wow, they're freaking hilarious. You know, like good for them. But I wrote on my review on Letterboxd that the first half of this movie is kind of rage baiting. But once Sacha Baron Cohen's character sat down at the piano and sang My Pony or Pony and they all started like jamming to it, that's when I started like having fun. You know what I mean? And the love story started kicking in, and the message at the end of this, it was cute. You know, it was well done. But I still think it's one of those movies that many people are going to be like, you gave what? What? How'd you give it that score? That first half? You know, like, and I genuinely think, like, even on Letterboxd here, I see that there is, you know, a couple of 1-star reviews, and you know, I would be curious to ask those people if they actually got to the end of the movie. And like, either way, you know, like, you're entitled to your opinion. If you think it's a 1-star movie, comment below. That's perfectly fine that you don't agree with me. Overall, for me, I gave this more of like a 3.5. Maybe it's more like a 3 out of 5 stars, but you know, it's 7 out of 10. At a certain point, I was just thinking about it, because initially I was like, this is like a 2 out of 5 stars, about a 4 out of 10. But I changed it to a 7 out of 10 because of the message at the end of the movie, you know? And it's one of those things, like, if a movie can intentionally piss you off the way that this movie does and make you angry, but still make you think and process and, like, by the end of the movie change your mind, where, like, at the, you know, like I said, for 45 minutes, I was kind of angry. I was like, damn, this is just dumb. But I was angry on both sides, right? Like, I wasn't picking a side, like, oh, women are dumb. You know, like, when they were doing their terrible pitch, I go, God, the writing and like just the jokes that he was saying in this room about this Guinness pitch were awful. But then they flipped it in the women saying their pitch for the men Guinness was awful, right? So they were intentionally awful on both sides. Like, I was just like, you know, not here for the whole women versus men side of things. But that's kind of what it is, you know? And at a certain point, you know, you gotta not sleep around with everybody in the planet, and you have to find the person that's worth it, and love is worth the wait. And like me personally, I've been dealing with somebody I really like at the moment, but she's not quite ready, you know? So like, what would you do if somebody that you really like wasn't ready? Would you sit there on your ass and wait? Like is that what I'm supposed to do? Am I just supposed to wait and just sit here because I like her? Or should, like, you know, I don't want to pressure her into feeling something that she doesn't, but like, I also like don't really need to be in a relationship right now. I more so wanted to know, like, hey, I care about you. I've been liking talking with you. Like, do you care about me? And then she hit me with like a, I'm not ready. And it's like, that's not the question I asked, but like, sure, you know, you be ready whenever you're ready. But like, what do I do? You know, like, anybody that's made it this far in the video, what would you do? You know, like, do you just wait, or do you move on? Because, you know, if the feelings aren't reciprocated, I should just wait until maybe they do or maybe they won't, you know? Like, so either way, I'm just gonna sit on my ass and be an asshole? Like, I don't know. I'm not necessarily gonna go out and looking for somebody else because I really did like this girl, but like, I don't know. I've been trying to make things work with this girl for like 3-4 months, I feel like, at this point, and like, maybe even more. I mean, we're heading into June. We started talking around like Christmas. So like, yeah, it's been like 6 months. I've been like texting this person, but we haven't hung out in person. Like, we haven't FaceTimed or anything like that. But like, we text all the time and we were texting all day. But yet, she doesn't want to meet up. She's going through things. She's got to fucking, you know, and at a certain point, like, is she saying all this because she's not interested, or is she saying this because she's really going through stuff? But either way, what do I do? Do I just wait? And why would I wait, you know? Like, not that I'm doing anything else in the meantime, but like, I don't know, it feels, I don't know, it just, feelings are messy, feelings are complicated, and I feel like that's what this movie investigates a little bit, you know, the difference of feelings, how she feels, how he feels, and how those feelings end up mending together, and, you know, they hook up, she fires him, he gets angry, but then eventually he hits his head, he's like, fuck, I'm not ready to go back yet, shit, and then he goes back and he, you know, fixes things, he apologizes, and I hope the two of them end up happily ever after type of thing, you know, because that's what I wish for everybody. I wish that, you know, as a child from divorce, I wish that there was no divorces ever in the planet anymore. You know what I mean? Like, I wish every single person that is with somebody is with them because they love them and not just because they want sex or something from them or whatever. You know, like, I really wish for everybody to find their true love. And what is the message we learned from this movie? That love takes time and it's worth the wait. But that's it for me, y'all. About 3.5 out of 5 stars, but a 7 out of 10. If I had to give it a true 10 score, it's probably like a 7.0, maybe a 7.1, maybe more like a 6.9. But still, 7 out of 10, 3.5 out of 5 stars. That's my score. I'd love to hear yours down in the comment section below, or if you'd like to send me your thoughts to my other social medias, links for those down in the description below. Once again, my name is Big Cam. Thank you guys for anybody that made it this far into the video. I highly appreciate you. And if you would like to support the channel further, the best way of doing that is dropping a like on this video, commenting down below, subscribing if you haven't already, and hit that bell so you don't miss future movie reviews and you get the notification when that comes out. Once again, my name's Big Cam, and I'll see you gorgeous folks in the next video. Peace!